Hi everyone, Miss Tui here. Now that you have experience with the engineering design process, we are going to work on something a little bit more challenging today. Get ready. For today's lesson, you will need an Ozobot, fully charged and calibrated, color code markers, a pencil, all 4 pages of your engineering design process activity sheets, and a color code chart. In today's lesson, you will use the engineering design process to follow a pathway to collect and give away items on a list using Ozobot's point counter. Your goal is to collect and give away items so that you end up with no points at the end. Before the challenge can begin, it is important you understand how the point counter is programmed and will work. I'm going to use a sample map to show you the point codes. The point counter code, red, blue, red, green, is a command that tells your Ozobot to count point codes. Ozobot begins with 5 points and can never have more than 5 points. Each time Ozobot reads a point -1 code, it subtracts 1. If it reads a point +1 code, it adds 1 unless it already has 5 points. It's really important to pay attention to the direction your bot is traveling when filling in these codes. Notice that +1 is red, blue, green, and -1 is opposite, green, blue, red. Starting with 5 points, -1 equals 4, +1 equals 5, -1 equals 4, -1 equals 3, +1 equals 4, +1 equals 5, -1 equals 4, -1 equals 3, -1 equals 2, -1 equals 1, and -1 equals 0. When the total point count is 0, Ozobot will look left and right, flash green lights, and stop line following. You can reset Ozobot by turning it off. Turn it back on again to try again. Now that you know how the point counter works, here is your task. Imagine you are an 8th grader and you have the responsibility of mentoring an incoming 6th grader. Your task is to help them collect the items they need, plus points, and turn in or give away other items, minus points. You should have no points left at the end of the day. Can you write the problem on your engineering design process planning sheet? The criteria for the challenge are to complete 13 tasks in all, either adding or subtracting a point, and arrive back at homeroom with 0 points. Can you write the criteria on your engineering design process planning sheet? The constraints of the program for the point counter are that you only have up to 5 points. So if you have 5 points and use a +1 code, it won't add another. You still have 5 points. If my point count is at 0, the Ozobot stops. I need to have at least 1 point for my Ozobot to keep moving. My Ozobot must stay on the line. No line switch codes. Can you write the constraints on your engineering design process planning sheet? Recall the rules of brainstorming. First, write everything down. Second, use your imagination. If anything were possible, how would you solve this problem? Third, no judgment of ideas. Everyone has ideas. Even if the idea would definitely not work, it might spark the perfect idea. Let all ideas be written down. Use the back of your planning sheet to brainstorm ideas for 3 minutes. Next, choose one of your ideas from the brainstorming you just did. Take 30 seconds or less to choose an idea. Use the Lesson 3 activity sheet as a starting place to craft your solution idea. Then fill in the point+1 codes and point-1 codes on the map. For example, on my Lesson 3 activity sheet, I will begin by turning in my supplies from my supply list. I've written that on the line next to number 1. That is in the point-1 side of the list of activities, so I will circle -1 and put the point-1 code, which is green, blue, red, on the last line labeled color code. Can you create a possible solution using the activity sheet? When your activity sheet is complete, use pencil to make sure that you end the route with 0 points left. Then fill in the color codes. Time to test your model. Turn Ozobot on and place it at start. Turn Ozobot on and place it at start. Does Ozobot make it back to homeroom before it stops? Does it stop right at homeroom? If Ozobot stopped right before it got to homeroom or didn't stop right at the homeroom, modify your model and test it again. When you're satisfied that the results meet the criteria in the best way possible, tell a friend, a partner, or a teacher about your solution and the process you used to solve the problem. You can do this in writing or just by talking to them. Always communicate the results of your design and testing. You might have a great idea for solving other problems. Can you tell someone else about the solution and the process used to solve this problem? If you are working remotely, you can write what you would tell someone and share it with them at a later time. Let's make sure you've completed the activity. Have you completed the engineering design process planning sheet? Did you also complete the Lesson 3 activity sheet? Did you fill in the color codes on the Lesson 3 map? Did your Ozobot stop right at the homeroom with your 6th grader? Thanks for joining us for this lesson. Come back again soon.